Okay, so plenty of tag teams could have made this video, but in my honest opinion, no other tag team was as underrated as Paul London and Brian Kendrick. Before the WWE in 1999, Brian Kendrick moved to Texas to join and start training at NWA Southwest Wrestling School, and then moved to Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy, and there he picked up the name Spanky. He got the nickname from staying up during long drives on the road when on the indie circuit. Then in February 2000, he signed a developmental deal with WWE, or WWF at the time, and spent a year at the Memphis Championship Wrestling promotion before it closed. Then, in early 2002, he spent some time in ROH, where he became the first ever international junior heavyweight champ. However, he dropped it a few months later to Loki. In 2001, Paul London happened to have joined Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy as well, and in 2002 he made his Ring of Honor debut in a match against Chris Marvel. He'd go on to win a tournament to capture the ROH number 1 contenders trophy, guaranteeing a match for the ROH championship. However, he did lose the match, but he'd eventually end up in some tag team matches, and even teaming up with Spanky, but only occasionally. In 2003, he started to make appearances in TNA as well. In his TNA debut, he faced Jerry Lynn in a gauntlet match but lost. However, he would start to wrestle often in the X Division, and even earned shots at the X Division Championship. His time would come to an end though, in June 2003, at the TNA Anniversary show, when he faced Chris Sabin for the title, but lost thanks to interference from CM Punk. Eventually, the two would end up in WWE together. Kendrick signed for the company in late 2002, and London in 2003. Paul made his debut on SmackDown against Brock Lesnar, and it was for the WWE Championship. Lesnar squashed Paul and decided to keep attacking him after the match was done, so Spanky came out to save the day. This brought them to join forces as two cruiserweights, who tried to get an advantage with the link-up of their skills. They wrestled a few house shows and dark matches on SmackDown, but finally got more TV when they wrestled together on Velocity, beating Shannon Moore and Canyon, and also losing to the FBI. So they were kind of on and off throughout 2003, and I think this made Spanky rethink being at WWE. So in January 2004, he left the company to go back to the Japanese promotion 01. This left poor Paul London without a tag team partner, but only until Billy Kidman stepped up to take Spanky's place. On July 8th, the tag team of London and Kidman managed to grab a taste of gold by winning the tag team championships from the Dudleys. Then they defended them against the Dudley Boys and the Basham Brothers in multiple matches before they finally gave them up to Rene Dupree and Kenzo Suzuki. They actually lost this match because Kidman decided to let Paul fight alone, and of course, this heel turn led to the two falling into a rivalry with each other. The rivalry came to an end at No Mercy 2004, when Kidman hit London with a shooting star press and pinned him. But that wasn't the end of it. Unfortunately, for London, he got hit with another shooting star press while having injured ribs, bleeding from the mouth, and having a broken nose still from wrestling Booker T previously. After this, he took some time off and returned on the November 27th episode of Velocity. Then in 2005, he managed to become the number 1 contender for Chavo Guerrero's Cruiserweight Championship, and he actually won it in a Battle Royal. This led to Paul London and Chavo Guerrero clashing at Judgment Day, and London came out on top, but unfortunately, he'd lose the title to Nunzio and Velocity. Then, out of nowhere, Kendrick returned in mid-2005, using his real name instead of Spanky, and in September, London and Kendrick became a tag team once more. They also revamped their image, wearing some theatrical masks and entering with a rapid sprint to the ring. With the upgrade to their image, and quality in-ring skills, they were quickly allowed to be in the title picture. They got a non-title match against the champions Eminem, Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury, but lost. However, they did get a rematch and they managed to beat Eminem. Continuing to beat them, they earned a title match at Judgment Day, where finally, London and Kendrick would win their first World Tag Team Championship as a tag team. So things were looking up for London and Kendrick, but after beating Eminem consecutively, they saw a new challenge arise. They faced KC James and Idol Stevens in a non-title match on August 11th and ultimately lost. However, this sparked a rivalry between the two teams, and at the time, Michelle McCool was the valet for James and Stevens, so London and Kendrick got their own valet in Ashley Mazzaro. On October 14th in 2006, they became the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions of all time, surpassing Eminem's previous record reign of 145 days, and this record stood until it was broken by The New Day in July 2016. Unfortunately, after this, they ended up being on a losing streak to William Regal and Dave Taylor, with William Regal getting wins over both men in singles matches. They eventually got a match scheduled for Armageddon 2006, which was originally a normal tag team title match. However, others got involved and the match was made a four-way ladder match, also involving the Hardys and Eminem. Ultimately, London and Kendrick came out on top, retaining the tag team championships. On an episode of SmackDown a couple of weeks later, General Manager Teddy Long booked another ladder match between the teams of London and Kendrick, Regal and Taylor, Eminem and the Hardys for the WWE Tag Team Championship at No Way Out. However, the WWE's official website announced the match had changed to pit the Hardys and Chris Benoit against Eminem and MVP, while London and Kendrick faced rookie team Juice and Domino. London and Kendrick retained the title, however, they dropped the championships to them on SmackDown, ending their reign of 331 days. London ended up with an injury after this, which left Kendrick to continue alone against Juice and Domino, but in singles matches. He lost to Juice, but beat Domino. Then, London returned on the May 11th episode of SmackDown, where he faced Domino and defeated him. This win allowed them to face Juice and Domino and Regal and Taylor in a triple threat tag team match for the tag titles, but they didn't manage to get the victory. In July 2007, both London and Kendrick got drafted to Raw. They went up against the world's greatest tag team, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, and they were successful in their debut showing. They defeated them again on September 3rd episode of Raw, and this time earned a World Tag Team Championship match at Unforgiven. It was a good match, but unfortunately for London and Kendrick, they lost. Towards the end of 2007, London picked up another injury, which put him out of action. Kendrick once again had to go on his own path as a singles competitor, but he was losing quite a lot, and it seemed exactly like his previous WWE run. London returned on February 4th, and London and Kendrick returned as a tag team on the March 17th episode of Raw in a loss to Umaga, when Kendrick walked out on London. The two reunited on Raw on March 31st, with JR explaining how the two worked out their differences. Then, London and Kendrick got a win over them World Tag Champs, Cody Rhodes and Hardcore Holly, and because of this, they faced off against Santino Marella and Carlito for a number one contender spot. However, they lost this and ended up wrestling infrequently on Raw for months, but only up until they had to face Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch, where they finally won and finally earned the spot as the number one contenders. Unfortunately, Cody Rhodes and Hardcore Holly came out on top, retaining the World Tag Team Championships after Holly gave London an Alabama Slam and pinned him. The team would come to an unfortunate and sad end in June 2008, when Kendrick was drafted to the SmackDown brand as part of the 2008 supplemental draft, while London stayed on Raw. He made his return to the brand on July 18th, 2008, on SmackDown as a heel, with new ring attire, and defeating Jimmy Wang Yang with the help of his new bodyguard Ezekiel Jackson. Kendrick was given the name The Brian Kendrick, and London was used in small amounts during the next months, making his only television appearance in a loss to Lance Cade on the July 21st episode of Raw. London was later released from his WWE contract on November 7th, 2008, and on July 31st, 2009, Kendrick was also released. This was a sad end to a tag team that had so much potential, was so underrated and so underutilized. Well, they would actually start teaming up together again when the two returned to the Indies, but it was never like before, and in my opinion, these two are most definitely one of, if not the most underrated tag team ever. Let me know who your most underrated tag team ever is, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Click here for another. And if you want to become one of the dogs yourself and join our private community, check the links in the description. Nice one.